Stop! Don't touch her! While out shopping, I checked the baby monitor app on my phone and saw a strange woman trying to pick up and take away my daughter. There, next to the crib, my husband was blissfully napping. Wake up, you! I was drenched in sweat and couldn't help but shout, even though I knew he couldn't hear me. I had left my 3-month-old daughter in my husband's care while I went shopping. While he had happily agreed to watch her, he ended up taking a nap instead of actually taking care of our daughter. I regretted trusting him in that moment, but it was too late. Frantically, I called my husband while preparing to rush to the police, but then, what caught my eye was an unbelievable sight. I'm Aria, a 35-year-old elementary school teacher. My husband, also 35, is a high school sweetheart who now runs his own business. After years of fertility treatments, we were finally blessed with our daughter, Mary. He would always gaze at her and say, "She's so cute," clearly delighted. Although he never took care of her, I had some time off for parental leave and felt content and happy. Before Mary was born, we had grown apart. My husband was a workaholic, often coming home late and working on his days off. I was also busy, and despite wanting to come home early, would often return after dark due to grading tests and preparing for the next day's lessons. Slowly, his attitude and words towards me became colder.
"Sometimes I come home early, and you're not here. There's no dinner, and the house is a mess. What's the point of us being married?"
"I'm sorry. I've been busy with work."
"You're the wife. Act like it. This isn't a relaxing home."
Even though we both work, he thinks housework is my job and never lifts a finger to help. So there I was, doing all the cooking and laundry, no matter how tired I was. I refrained from asking to help because I knew he wouldn't budge. I felt emotionally distanced from my husband and was left with a lingering sense of discontent. However, having a child changed my husband. He started to come home early just to see our daughter's face.
"Isn't she adorable? She's got a beautiful face, just like me."
"You wish." I chuckled. Yet thanks to our daughter, I began to feel that our relationship might be on the mend. Mind you, he was still glued to his phone, constantly checking it. "Hey, do you really need to take your phone even to the bathroom and shower?"
"Well, work's been going great, and clients keep reaching out."
"I know what it's like to bring work home. Just take care of yourself, okay?" I was genuinely worried for his health, but I never imagined what would happen next. On a day off, as I was busy with household chores, my husband unexpectedly made a kind offer.
"Look, I know you're swamped every day. I'm off today, so why don't I take care of Mary? Go out with your friends, have some tea, and relax."
"Really? Thanks." I was pleasantly surprised by his sudden gesture and gladly prepared to enjoy my long-awaited time alone. I felt happy thinking he was returning to the thoughtful man I'd married. Shopping in the bustling downtown area, dressed to the nines, I suddenly found myself worried about our daughter. After all, I hadn't been apart from her for a single moment since she was born. Now is the perfect time to use this. I pulled out my phone and accessed a certain app. You see, I had installed a baby monitor camera in the house for just this kind of moment. The camera's footage and audio get sent directly to my phone in real time. I've told my husband about this camera setup a while ago, but he might have forgotten since he really didn't pay attention. What do we have here? A bit anxious, I check the footage, and am disappointed by what I see. It's great that my usually uninvolved husband agreed to babysit, but it looks like he's dozed off next to our daughter's bed, probably worn out from work. Our daughter, Mary, has been left alone in her crib. Well, he's completely dropped the ball, but the kid seems content, so it's okay for now. Just as I sighed in resignation, I witnessed something shocking. Out of nowhere, a young woman I've never seen before appeared and picked up my daughter. "Who are you? Wait, what are you doing with Mary?" I panicked and screamed as loudly as I could into the baby monitor toward my snoozing husband. "Wake up quick! Someone's taking Mary!" Of course he can't hear me and continues to sleep. It looked like the woman was about to take my daughter outside. I was about to rush to call the police while still glued to the live feed when, in the next moment, my husband wakes up and starts chatting with the woman who was holding our daughter, even leaning in and being affectionate. What? What's going on? Do they know each other? My mind was racing, totally thrown off by this unexpected turn. And then, when I heard their conversation, I was even more shocked. I want to make this adorable child mine as soon as possible.
Once the plans go through, my wife will soon be out of the picture. Then we'll have a windfall and can live luxuriously. We can finally be together, Lily.
You're being so nice to your wife, so she doesn't suspect anything, right?
Yeah, begrudgingly. She's nothing compared to you. No charm at all. You're young and beautiful. The only one I love is you, Lily.
Feeling sick to my stomach, I watched my husband flirt shamelessly with another woman. I'd been fooled into thinking he had returned to the caring man I once knew. My husband and Lily were meticulously plotting against me, unaware that I was listening. Thanks for showing me how to target her life. I had no idea such methods even existed. Listening to their unsettling conversation, the woman grinned and showed my husband a small white flower, then began arranging it in a vase. Who is this Lily who seems so intimately involved with my husband? Gaining some composure, I decided to play along and gather evidence. Fortunately, he didn't seem to notice the hidden camera, so I returned home, feigning ignorance. My husband greeted me with a smile as if nothing had happened. You won't be smiling for long. Be prepared. But even with my resolve, I had no clue where to start. Then, an ideal person popped into my head. Emily, my high school friend who loves mysteries. Every time we meet, she enthusiastically talks about detective techniques and methods she learns from books and movies. She might be the one to help. She knows about my husband, too. When I met with Emily and explained the situation, she was all in. Leave it to me. From that point, Emily did some sleuthing and found out Lily worked at my husband's favorite cabaret club. Even more, she interviewed some of the club's patrons. Apparently, Lily had targeted multiple married men before swindling money from them. She's clearly bad news. Meanwhile, I seized the opportunity to check my husband's phone while he was asleep and found his text exchanges with Lily. I see, so that's how it is. It seems my husband had been frequenting Lily's club and trying to woo her, but stopped visiting after our daughter was born. Suddenly, she started texting him frequently saying, "Why don't you come see me? I'm lonely," and lured him in. It seemed like my husband fell for it hook, line, and sinker. From then on, they stopped meeting at cafes and started rendezvousing at hotels. My husband seemed to become increasingly infatuated with Lily. Emily and I decided to collect some evidence and went through my husband's room. We found a stash of hotel receipts and luxury branded bags and jewelry receipts that were likely gifts for Lily. I trembled with anger. I haven't received anything like that from him since we got married. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. I discovered a file that revealed the unexpected reality of my husband's business, and something even more shocking. What is this? I will never forgive him. 2 days later, on a day off, he said,
"I'll watch over Mary today. You go out and do whatever you want."
Hearing his sugar-coated tone, I became certain. So I decided to take him up on his offer. Thanks, I'll take you up on that and go out. But I'll leave Mary with my mother because she's been saying she wants to see her. I couldn't possibly leave Mary at home, knowing Lily might come over.
"All right, I'll cook dinner tonight, so take your time."
You're so kind. Thank you. I was both disgusted by his performance and saddened. How wonderful it would have been if this was his true self. After dropping off my daughter with my mother, I went to Emily's house, which was near my parents' home. As we were watching the surveillance camera footage, sure enough, Lily showed up and started doing something shocking in the kitchen with my husband. My faint hope that my husband might change his mind was shattered. In fact, I felt hatred toward him, seeing the grin on his face. 2 hours later, when Emily and I returned home, my husband, who thought he was alone, let out a surprised, "What?" when he saw her. "Why are you so shocked I was with Emily today?" "Long time no see. I tagged along back to your place." My upbeat Emily received a forced smile from my husband, who reluctantly invited her inside. Mary's already asleep, so she'll be spending the night at her grandparents'.
"Ah, I see,"
he replied, clearly distracted by something else. But Emily threw him another curveball. Something smells good. Is it curry for dinner? Mind if I join?"
Well,
my husband stumbled over his words, clearly uncomfortable. Before he could decline, Emily had already sat at the table, so we ended up having dinner together. As I was about to help with the setup, my husband insisted.
I cooked today. Let me serve it.
He returned with a tray of curry for 3 and set a plate in front of each of us. I seized the moment. Wow, my curry has a lot of meat. Let me swap plates with you.
What?
Before he could say anything, I had already switched our plates. His face turned pale, and he looked utterly helpless. I relished the curry in front of him, while Emily watched with a smile. She didn't try to eat hers, though. After all, who knows if what's on Emily's plate is safe? My husband, however, seemed oblivious to Emily's reactions, his face growing more and more pale. Why aren't you eating? It'll get cold.
I'm, full already. Hey, why don't you eat it?
Why should I? Are you trying to get me to eat it for some reason?
What? No, of course not.
Then take a bite. You made it yourself after all. I said I don't want to eat it. He clenched his lips and sweated, even though it wasn't hot. Well then, I'll take this curry as evidence and give it to the police.
What? Police?
For a moment he froze, then mustered a feeble voice.
I just don't feel like eating it because my stomach's off.
If there's nothing wrong, then you shouldn't mind it being given to the police, right? At that instant, he slammed the table, about to lunge at me, but then noticed Emily and stopped.
Police? What are you accusing me of?
I thrust before him pictures of files documenting his company's poor financial status. Your company's doing bad, huh? It could go under any day now.
How did you find that?
I found it in your study. Planning to make me the fall guy to save your company. How awful.
What are you talking about? There's no way I'd do such a thing.
My husband still seemed to be playing dumb. He turned towards Emily and exaggeratedly shrugged his shoulders.
Listen, Emily, my wife here has been really paranoid lately. I'm actually worried she might be ill. Me trying to kill my own wife? Ridiculous.
Oh, so you're still pretending, huh? Without waiting for his response, I pulled out my smartphone and began to play the footage recorded from the surveillance camera. There he was, my husband and Lily, both beaming as they began to make curry together. They took some of the curry from the large pot and transferred it into a smaller one, into which they added the juice of a white flower known for its toxic properties. Their entire conversation about trying to get rid of me had been perfectly captured as well. And look what I found in your study, I said, throwing onto the table a $100,000 life insurance policy taken out on me. My life seems to be quite valuable, doesn't it?
This is...
I was hoping you'd have second thoughts. But too bad. I have all the evidence I need, so it's over to the police now. His eyes widened and his lips trembled, finally seeming to accept that he couldn't deceive me any longer. He broke down and deeply apologized.
I'm sorry. It was a momentary lapse. Forgive me.
Why would I? You cheated on me and even plotted to kill me.
I was influenced by Lily. I never really intended to. And things at work haven't been going well, so I just...
It's too late. I've already reported you to the police. They should be here soon.
Please wait. I'll do whatever you say. Just don't call the police.
In truth, I had secretly reported him to the police while he was serving the curry. If he had had second thoughts and decided not to go through with poisoning me, I might have reconsidered calling the cops. That thought was still lingering in my mind. Unfortunately, my husband chose his affair and money over me. As he was being led away by the police, he pathetically cried out,
I did nothing wrong. Help me.
Later, he was found guilty of conspiring with Lily to take my life. Once this became public, his company went under. After the divorce, my daughter and I started living together. I demanded $30,000 in settlement money and $150,000 in child support from my ex-husband during the divorce proceedings. I hope he truly learns that you can't ever justify endangering someone's life for money while he's behind bars. As for my father-in-law and mother-in-law, they apologized for the pain they caused me and agreed to pay the settlement and child support in place of my husband. They promised to make sure he repays them once he's out. I also demanded $20,000 from Lily during the divorce proceedings, and I intend to make sure she pays up. Both my ex-husband and Lily face a long time behind bars and a grim future even if they get out. I plan to return to work when my adorable daughter turns 1. We'll face the future together, doing our best every step of the way.